I pray that God is with the hostages, with Nimrod Cohen, age 19, who is a student of software engineering, with Alex Danzig, age 75, who's a scholar of the Holocaust, and with more than 100 people still held in Gaza. I pray that God is with each and every one of them and will be walking with them as they walk back home. What does the Mishkan, the tabernacle, with its cloths and its planks, say about where God is and our access to the sacred, to the beautiful, to the just? To appreciate the invitation of the tabernacle, we need to see the context in which it's commanded. Just before the detailed instructions of what to bring, at the very end of last week's Torah portion, we hear that Moses is at the top of the mountain. Near him, the people also see the divine presence. The Torah tells us that to the eyes of the Israelites at a distance, the divine presence looked like an Eishochelet, a consuming fire. But then immediately the Torah tells us Moses walks right in, b'toch ha'anan, into the cloud, into the presence, that at a distance looks precisely like what you should not walk into, staying there for 40 days, and presumably hearing our portion from within it. The most important phenomena in our life are felt very differently, depending on whether you are in them or whether you're far from them. I feel this keenly myself when I'm overhearing a conversation or seeing it play out on emails or WhatsApps while I'm doing something else. I often feel suspicious of the conversation, rancorous even, because I'm not in it. When a thought crosses my mind about something I need to do, but I can't do anything about it now, I might feel anxiety because I'm currently not in it. And I do see trepidation in us, in so many of us, who invariably feel some distance from our Judaism when it comes to stepping into it, closer to it. Yet this is the invitation of the tabernacle, to become aware that we live our lives navigating distance and proximity, and to step closer. The central project of the Parsha is V'asu li mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham. Make me a sanctuary, God says, and I will dwell amongst them. B'tocham, just as Moses stepped into the divine presence, b'toch ha'anan, now the mikdash insists that we can all step close, in almost. In fact, the moving insistence in that verse is that the divine will come to us if we're active and loving in our approach to the world. B'tocham, I will dwell amongst you. I will dwell within you. There is a strong interpretive tradition that boldly suggests that the divine will not just dwell in the tabernacle amongst the people, but God will truly dwell amongst them, within them, dwelling as close as we are close to each other, dwelling within us. The divine is in us, insists the Sfat Emet, the Hasidic master. The divine, according to him, is illuminating our potential and being when we do sacred acts. Judaism is an intellectually vibrant tradition, but you can't think yourself into it. Reasoning will not bring you close. And if we thought that we're staying at a distance due to some rational queries or complaints, let go of that thought, right? Or at least make the reasoned decision that you want proximity and closeness in your life. Come closer to your Judaism, which might mean for yourself coming closer to Torah or doing more sacred spiritual acts. You might choose a couple, or coming closer to the Jewish people, or just to people, coming closer to community. In the 19th century, there came the excitement of enlightenment, and also another phenomenon that we pay less explicit attention to, alienation, a sense of isolation from others and even from oneself. Progressive Jewish communities historically got excited about enlightenment, subjecting our Judaism to rational criteria that turned out to be a little flimsy. What we really do in this community now, in this progressive community, is invite connection and belonging, overcoming alienation. The tabernacle teaches us that God is close and intimate. So step in and recognize that we're always navigating distance and closeness. And if the divine self is still appearing to you a little like a consuming fire or a vacuous cloud, you can still find a way to come closer. You can still come a little closer here to what is good and spiritually vibrant and connected. You can come closer to people. You can come closer to Torah. One thing you might try, one approach, is to find one verse from the Torah portion coming up that week and make it your own, repeat it, learn from it. I've been reflecting this week on Asuli Mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham. Make me actively a sanctuary, and I'll dwell amongst you. And I've been reflecting on how that verse in the tabernacle teaches us not only of the possibility of God's proximity to us, but also allows a Judaism that insists that God is closer to those who are suffering. It could have been otherwise. Professor Jean-Louis Scar explains that in other ancient cultures, the God of a people who have been attacked, killed, taken hostage, might have been considered to be God-napped themselves. But the Torah insistently tells us there's no statue of God in the temple. So God can't be God-napped. And the prophet Ezekiel describes that presence lifting from the temple before the Babylonians in the 6th century BCE ransacked the temple. A God might have been God-napped, or as bad perhaps. A God might have been felt to be on the flags of the triumphant and the triumphalist, but not our God, not God. Where is our close God in the face of such difficulty? According to Ezekiel, God is with the exiles. Thus says the Eternal, though I remove them far off among the nations, I have been a sanctuary for them. I am with you in difficulty, God declares in the Psalms. Isaiah proclaims, as the exiles return, a voice cries, in the wilderness, prepare the way for the Eternal. Make straight in the desert a highway for our gods. God returns with those who are returned. And God is not taken hostage, but God is with the hostages, just hovering, offering hope and offering company. I pray that God is with the hostages, each and every one of them, and will walk with them as they return home. Professor Scar articulates that in Torah, counterintuitively, counterculturally, the God of the defeated nation appears in the land of the other nation to comfort and instruct those who have been defeated. I pray that God is with the suffering and the fearful right now. I pray that God was with the 6-year-old girl, Hind Rajab, who called for help before dying in Gaza as well. I pray that God is somehow with those innocents crammed into Rafah, somehow giving them hope. I pray that we can all see the divine there and dwelling with the hostages too. And we can feel and act accordingly. And I don't pretend that this is easy. I don't pretend that one knows exactly how to act when aware that the divine is with the suffering, that the divine is with the innocent. But that is our God. That is our God hovering close to us, close to those who are suffering. Don't let God be God-napped. Turn to the sacred, which stands for the reality of a better world. Recognize that we have a Judaism, if only we turn to it, that binds us to people and to principles of mercy and justice, and to possibilities for a better reality. Elohei Olam, B'rachamecha Rabim, Rachem Aleinu, ultimate of the world, in your bountiful compassion, be compassionate to us. Let us thrive as Jews in a more embracing world, and be compassionate to others. Be with the hostages, be with the innocent, bring them home, bring us home, bring us hope, make us hope. Shabbat Shalom.